Hi, Bob.
And got it. There we go. Great.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for waiting. As you can see, this is Bob Burridge. He is an excellent teacher. I've taken 4 of his classes, and I would do another one. And you just got back from Cancun, yeah?
We were in Bermuda.
Oh, Bermuda.
On the Bahamas. Sorry, the
Oh,
Bahamas.
Bahamas.
One of the B words. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Something that's sunny and warm, yeah.
Can you imagine doing a workshop in the Bahamas and the ocean's right
Yeah,
there? And
rub it in. Go ahead.
it was
It's
really
good.
it was great.
And they paid you, right?
Hello, I call those things paintations.
Yeah.
It's just great. We painted a lot and wine and dine and all that good stuff. But the location was just spectacular. So yeah, hey, we've been doing these workshops right here in the studio. It's nice to be back in the studio and see the spring flowers popping through, and we're having all
always nice to be home.
and all that. Yeah.
Yep, we got it here too. Well, I'm going to turn this over to you since we had to wait so long. I'm sorry to keep everybody waiting, but thanks for hanging out.
Jolene, I'm going to ask a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have people ask questions to Bob when
I am the question asker, although you've got the, you'll have the chat window. What, can I see that? Maybe, yeah, probably. Usually they stick it in the chat and I do that.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right.
And then Kate, will you read the chat?
I will.
Okay, that's
I can see it. I can see it.
Okay, then Jolene is going to do it.
So then she will do it for me, for you. That's great. That's very cool.
I might prompt you now and then.
Oh,
but you're pretty good at this, so I don't know.
No, this is my first time. I better be good then. Well, welcome.
Hang it. This will be the last time you work.
Yes, it will, Jolene. Okay, here we go. Well, the name of this little presentation, if both of us would just shut up. It's nice to see you again. Nice to be back too. And hey, I'm in the studio. So I think the request was, how about doing a demonstration? One of my favorite subjects is called putting the wow back in your painting. And why even do it? What's the wow? So that's the subject, and that's how I paint. It's kind of like entertainment, and I want the audience to go, wow, that kind of a thing. And for me, that's kind of fun to do, as opposed to doing the same old thing over and over and over again. Nothing wrong with that. But I think my personality makeup is I always want to know what's on the other side of the mountain. It's one of those kind of guys. So it's kind of nice to be able to paint and be my own audience. And so I do sit back, and when the painting goes, wow, that's when I know it's done. Hopefully it's always done in a series, and I just have some examples in the back wall, and I will be painting. So I better be good today.
Well, and you use your sketchbook before you do a series or a painting, right?
Well, okay, great question. Before I do a series, she knows me now, is actually I journal a lot. So when I get into the studio, the very first thing I do, I have right here. Very first thing I do, actually I have 2 of them right here. I write in them, I journal ideas and some sketchbook ideas of what I want to do, and what I want to do for the day. And oh my gosh, he even does drawings too. So yeah, and so the reason I do that is, first of all, I get rid of all the monkey chatter. This is early in the morning. We've let the chickens out, they're running around free, and I'm in the studio, lights are on, the lighting's beautiful in here, and so all super quiet. And it's only about a couple 100 feet away from the house, so it's away from no traffic and things like that. Anyway, so it's pretty quiet in here, and we set it up that way. So there's no phones and no computers, no electronic interruptions. So I lovingly call this my man cave. So this isn't a place for people to come to visit. So welcome to my studio. But painting for me is, well, I'm going to be leaning towards more of the loose abstract version, whether you're painting something that's recognizable or something more abstract over here. The same principles apply for it. Though for me, the wow factor is anything that slows your eye down, you know, and gets your attention, whether it's a composition or a contrast. Look at that, white against black, white to black against gray. It's all about just in the value of grays. Okay, so a hard edge is going to get attention. Soft edges, see how some of the flowers disappear, soft edges. Hard edge gets attention. It's your focal point. All right, it's your focal point. And I'll show you some of those kinds of things as we go along. I'm just going to go through all of them and then I'll start painting. All right. Right.
Yeah.
So what I like to talk about is dark to light, dark to light. You've been in my workshops before, and so I even practice that. And the famous, just paint a ball. If you can paint that ball, you can paint anything. But how do you make something as simple as a ball? You know, wow. Well, what you got here, you don't, and we're not doing it in color. So what you have here is hard edges and soft edges and one focal point. And bam, right there it is. It's if you walked into this dark room and you put a flashlight on this ball. There's your bowling ball. You were looking for it. And that's your light coming across, shining right on the ball and also on the back wall. So it's not even. So this is a pitch black room, imagine. Put the ball there, spotlight on it. So what we have here is dark against light. Dark against light. If you can do that, I practice doing that all the time. Then I'll do lots of fruits and vegetables, you know, and this is kind of a goofy looking pear with a whole lot of personality. And so it's still the ball, but it's nothing more than a ball, just like this, with a triangle on the top. But the lighting is still the same. Hard edge, darkest dark against the lightest light. Goes to the gray, goes to the dark on this side, dark against light, just like the ball up here. So I'll do that over and over and over until I kind of like get it in my head. And then we switch over to color. Yay, color. So this one was a black and white painting, by the way. And I used those transparent Holbein inks, those fluid inks. They're fantastic. I like those dyes. Everyone makes fluid inks, but this is the Holbein's version. Very intense. And look what it's transparent. So I was able to keep the darks and lights. And because it is transparent, I can still see it. And then I just came in and wiped away where the whitest white was.
So the ink
There's all that.
stain,
Bam.
are the inks thin and staining, or are they like an acrylic?
They're well, yes, they are an acrylic, but you can pour them and as like like an ink. And what's really nice about them, they're archival quality. It's the right stuff to use for an artist.
I had
Right
half.
stuff to use. All right. Someone's gonna have to.
Can you use those with acrylic paints?
Oh, I use them intermixed. Yeah, what I did here, this was a black and white.
Yeah.
And I put the yellow, actually it's marigold over there. And now the wow was, well, okay, big deal. The wow was, and what I like to do is pretend there's a red wall over here and it's reflecting in that dark part of the ball. So it doesn't become a dark hole. Same thing over here in the pear. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense to put that in there. But for me, you know, I'm seeing this red in here and I'm pretending there's something like this up against the wall. See, look, see the illusion there?
And How do you incorporate that in your other paintings? Do you look for that spice color like you call it, or?
Yes, well, let me go through the other ones.
Sure,
and
sure, go ahead.
The answer is
I'm
yes.
jumping the gun, sorry.
No, you did not. I love your enthusiasm. Yay. Don't you ever change. And that is what I'm about to say is color. So I'd use a color wheel, whether it's mine or the international color wheel or anybody's color wheel. Use a color wheel, but on the color wheel, I look more about, well, first of all, I know it's working.
Right,
I follow color. I don't argue with it. And I choose dominant color. And my dominant color would be, say, on this particular color wheel, we'll talk about this one right here. We'll get closer views of these later on.
okay,
Here, so this is mostly blue. So my dominant color, and I spin it just like this. Okay, I'm just showing you how the color wheel works for me and where I get that wow. That's that question. So this is blue. It says dominant color right there. There it says right there. But look at how many different kinds of blues I have. I mean, all kinds of
you
blue.
use them all.
It's just to let me know that it's going to be blue, and that's
Okay.
why I have fun with all different kinds of blues.
Right.
And now across my blue, it happens to be red. So, and that's the focal point. The focal point for me in my work is about 10 to 15 to 20% in one spot, the focal point.
Okay,
Don't have two focal points, you get cross-eyed, right? And so in this case, I mean, if you squint your eyes a little bit and think of this as an abstract painting, well, look where your eye goes, bam, to that red, the focal point. The focal point doesn't necessarily mean it's the biggest spot, you know? And so, and as a matter of fact, Henri Matisse said, I just love this part. He says, to make red more noticeable, you make it smaller. I thought that was ingenious. And that's Matisse. Okay, I thought it was great. So now going over to the next painting, more abstract, more of my figures. It's about a story about a party, and they're hugging. These people are going to be people over here hugging in the dark. Ooh la la. And over here, it's going to be a whole bunch of more heads and people in the party in the big room. But look at all the different blues. The dominant color is blue. The focal point is red. Look how small that red is.
yeah,
And two spice colors. I was asked, what do you mean by spice colors? Well, they're just like two other crazy colors. It all seems to work for me. In this case, yellow and purple. And you use it just a little bit sparingly around, the focal point in case you missed the focal point.
so you
So
use those spice colors as support for your focal point.
exactly. So this is kind of subtle, but there's the yellow
Yeah.
and the bluish purple thing that they're sitting on sofa is right next to them, of course. And I just put that down just so I can get started and start developing this painting a little bit further. All right, but whosever color wheel that you use it and stick to it. Don't just keep jumping all over the place. All right, different.
I use yours.
Thank you. Yay. Well, oh, that's goof proof. We'll call that. Thank you,
Yep,
sweetie.
yep.
That's very nice. That's nice. So that's by making, so for me, even if it were a vase of flowers, I think I have one of those around here somewhere. Here it is. Yeah. I'll just bring it up this way. So think of this as that ball we just got finished doing.
Right.
Okay. We still have the dark against light, dark against light. And it's fun to put in a shadow. That really tells the viewers, hello, you know, this is the light's coming this way. And don't forget to put a little bit of a shadow in there because that helps to anchor it all. Okay, it's kind of classic lighting, you know, Rembrandt lighting. But the flowers closest to the light source will be the brightest. And it's kind of more subtle. So this is, what's this one? Green. I have to look at my own color wheel. Oh yeah. So I'm going to spin it to green. There we go. So this is the next color version of it. So green is, look at all the different kinds of greens. It doesn't have to be just that green right out of the tube.
Right.
You all freak out on me. Say, oh, green. Hey, it does. That's a start. You can change it. You can make it more sage green or more yellow green or something like that. So anyway, yeah, I use green, but look at all the neutrals are green. And
Right. You include that in your green, the mix with a black or a dark.
is exactly right. Exactly. Thank you. And
You're
so
welcome.
now point,
It's my job.
the focal point will be this pinkish color, and it's right over here. And I also place it, by the way, in my favorite place to put a focal point, in the golden section. And the golden section, this is the world's fastest explanation. The golden section, it's like, it's aesthetically pleasing. Where do I put the focal point? I didn't make this up, all right? And but without getting out your rulers, God help you, or computers, you just basically divide it into 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, like a tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
So you just go 1/3 here and 1/3 here. And then you go 1/3 here and 1/3 here. And wherever those lines crisscross, there, here, or here, or here. So that's the one I've chosen. So that's going to be where aesthetically pleasing the focal point is. Don't quote me on this, because this is, I mean, so weird.
Yeah, get Hawthorne's book out, right? Yeah.
They you get it all out and start reading, and there'll be a test in the morning.
Exactly.
Good. So, but basically it's, it's homogeneous because it's dominant is green, but it's not that green out of the tube, right? And then the other two colors, I look over here, the other two colors, according to this particular color wheel, the spice colors are that orangish and blue. And so you'll see some orangish, and see if we can get some blue. There's some blue up inside here too.
Yeah.
There's a little bit over there. Boom, 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 boom. So that's the explanation of how I get a focal point. I use the color wheel,
Yeah.
and make sure it's not all over the place, like a Jackson Pollock, because your eye doesn't know where to settle down. I'm doing kind of classic old simple objects that we all know and love so much. And I keep painting this over and over and over. But at least I have the concept of the color wheel. And I stick to that and make it really obvious. See, it may be over here too, but not
exactly. Yeah.
Bringing it over. So that is the focal point. So simple enough, and still on the same side of dark light, dark light. It works for me. Pretty simple. Now, there are others. I mean, if you do this a couple hundred times, you get a little more crazy with this color into the vase. You make it, put in the stems, and then you play like that. But this is just today is how do we
distilled down to its general basic concept to start the learning.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I do the same thing, but I usually start off as a solid, clay piece of ceramic base, and then I decide, okay, now I'm going to start putting in the glass. And the way you do that, you just basically put that color inside here, so it looks like you're looking through the glass.
Right.
Pretty easy. It's fun to do. So anyway, and then you be more exploratory. Okay, but the point being, one's focal point. Now, since this is up here, the compositions. So you may have seen my composition chart, and basically it's the design. It's the graphic design structure of your painting. If it doesn't have a strong structure, it's kind of ho-hem. There it is in the middle. Ho-hem. I've seen it before. Eeyore. Wow. It's not even wine 30 yet here.
Damn it.
It's getting close to it. That's funny. Sorry, I just lost track there. You've just seen Bob lose his mind. The composition.
No, you were in the tropics.
No, back there is the cruciform.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's classic layout, classic graphic design. It's fun to do, and without making it so obvious that the guy just did a crisscross. All right, at least you know where the focal point is. Okay, enough of that. Sometimes size.
Hi, Gordon.
Guna, you're on mute. your-
So you sign it. Do we need two signature or one for that?
A minute,
Maybe CK can do something there.
okay.
I think we did. Can you also hear? Can you hear me?
No, yeah, you are not muted. Jolene,
I got it. Got it.
sorry about
All
that.
right. Okay. Cool. No. So this is a canvas.
Oh, yeah.
And, cheers to me.
Cheers.
You know, when you have one glass, it's kind of a sad story. But when you have two glasses, now we got a story going on here. So I decided it was a one glass day.
It needs a tissue there from the
And,
crying.
but I bring in the that's a funny thing, bring in some tissues there. That would be a great Kleenex box. That's a nice piece. That'd be a nice
Your
piece.
next one.
And then there's your surprise. You know, and there is that fluorescent pink from
Right.
Holbein. And the reason I put it there, you would think if the light's coming across here that I'd be over there. No, what it really happens, first of all, look at a glass of bottled wine and put it in the sunlight.
Yeah, all the refractory.
You know, that's your breakfast. Have a glass of wine early in the morning, and when the light is low, or late in the afternoon.
Yeah.
All right. And so you have these long shadows. And what happens is it's far out is I think this is the science part of the program. Fiber optics. Light literally goes through glass. You don't see it, but you see the effects of it. And it comes and it gathers down here because all glass has a thick bottom.
Right.
So think of it as a big glass hockey puck. So it gathers all this light coming in here and comes out and shines in the shadow hot spot. You'll see this. You'll see this time you have a glass of wine or two or three or four. And he said, well, there's that hot spot Burridge is talking about. And it's even off the stem. So that's that little bling, I like to call it. Even put it up in here as a little.
Yeah,
like,
I was just going to ask you about the
like,
is that also a science project, or is that just good painting with your little lights in the
no,
glass?
well, this was talking about size, you know, to make it not so tiny and little and give it some personality. And just basically that. And the surprise is that you'd think that even in the light spot of the green bottle, it would be green. No, this is the blue because it's reflecting the windows or something like that. Some really fun stuff happens. And that's where I like to play in here. But then the unexpected is then put in the bling bling here, just a little here, not too. I don't want to over bling it. And then in the glass, you'll see whether it's green glass or clear glass. You'll see even a glass of water, which is how I started to practice. A glass of water, just sitting out on the veranda, out on the shelf, out in the sun, and it was a dark background. But then, boy, that's when I just started to discover this kind of stuff. So here's a good suggestion. When you have this set up outside, take photographs of it. Get really close. No, don't get back. Get as close as I'm showing you here.
Right.
And different angles of the camera. And now you're going to have some documentation. Now, what's really cool is now you call up your kids and ask them how to switch those pictures into black and white on your cell phone. You know, kids, how do I switch it to black and whites? And then all you see is black and white like this. So you don't have the cool colors going on. And now all you're doing is looking at contrast. It's a great way to study values. You know, that sounds like a boring subject, doesn't it? But now, because you know about values, I'm pretty dramatic. I don't do a really gentle, soft back and forth. I mean, it's either is or it isn't, and even the colors. But I wanted to show you the thing about light going through glass, and that's where it can be kind of fun. All right. So, all right, I'm going to do a figure first. Do we have time for all of this?
Knock yourself out. You still got a half hour.
I have a half hour. Cool.
So overhead,
Sure, let's go overhead. That would be just great.
This is where the magic happens.
The magic happens here. Boy, it better. It better.
I have a comment about that, but I'm not gonna say it.
All right, thank you very much. I think I can read your lips and your mind.
Yep,
You-
you can.
You dirty girl, you.
Now.
Yep.
And thank you very much. All right. My kind of audience. Hey, I got a million of them, as they say.
So Bob, when you're, I mean, carry on, but when, like your bigger paces, when you're working on, like
Yeah.
say your circus ones, which are like my favorite
Thanks.
group of paintings ever. I mean, they're so big and there's so much going on. Are
Yeah.
you still using that same concept when you're doing something that has that collage and abstract and so much? I mean, I know that the figures usually have that kind of spotlight effect and all the above.
Well, I go after it with just bigger motions,
Uh-huh.
same as I'm using small ones. I was asked recently, do I do little ones first? Not necessarily. Sometimes I am so excited, so excited about a concept. I do some research. What did we look at this one for? Hold on.
Figures,
Oh, we're doing figures. Oh, no.
just she brought up figures and circus figures.
Oh, those
Okay.
kinds of, sorry, I have the pieces hanging on the wall.
It's
Oh, yeah.
down below.
Of
It's down
down
below.
below. There we go. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and like I work on this one and do it maybe 6 times with different variations. Still the same pose, different kind of colors, just playing with this. And this is a 9 by 11 inch watercolor paper.
Mhm.
Or I'll work it on square watercolor paper. This is Kilimanjaro. This is Kilimanjaro. It's 300 pound because it takes a beating. It really takes a beating and stays flat. See, and I've also I've already gessoed this.
I
Again.
was just gonna ask, you've already gessoed the paper.
I gessoed my surfaces because I want it to react the same way as if I were painting also on a canvas, because the substrate is the same gesso.
Right.
Okay, so first thing, and this is a nice reminder, of course. I'm so glad I have some time here to show you this stuff. To do a black and white painting. When was the last time you did a black and white painting? Yeah, I know, at a Burridge workshop.
Your class, yeah.
That's my class, right? I
Your
figured. And,
Right. You mean I
that's
was
my-
supposed to do that at home?
That's my black, and my white will be really thick white gesso, or I could use titanium and see how thick it is.
Yep.
I mean, it's amazing. It peaks up so much. Right. And the only thing I have on the table was what's going to serve me. Well, even though I have my colors just sitting up in here, I'm just going to get them out of view a little bit. All right. I have my paper towels. I paint flat. Okay, let me see if I can get my camera. I'm going to move my camera a little bit so it's a bit easier. There we go. There we go. Cool. And the first thing I'm going to do is put a mid-tone down. I'm going to make sure it doesn't go sliding all over the place. So what I like to do is, since I use both of my hands when I paint, I don't want to have one hand.
Your fingers.
Yeah, right. And so I don't want, anyway, so I put some tape. It's just box tape, brown self-adhesive box tape on the backside like that. And now I know it's going to stay here. All right, good. Temporarily. Now I've already put some skin safer or some kind of a salve on my hands. Let me see if I can do this right. There we go. And it's, you get it at the art store. And it's basically just like a cream you put on your hand. And I'm not concerned about toxicity. It's just that it's easier for me to wash my hands at the end of the day. Paint just comes right off. But you ladies know all about that stuff. So yeah, I don't wear gloves only because I put holes through them because I'm using them too aggressively. So just be glad I'm not your surgeon. Wearing those gloves. Gloves. So this is a nice little fun thing to do is I'm going to start off with just using values. This sounds boring, but we're going to make this exciting since that's what we're supposed to be doing today. I use just to speed up the process. I'm using a paper towel and a little bit of gesso, a little bit of black, and wipe it all over the place. But I want it to be the darkest up here on the top. So it's almost like darkest to mid-tone gray, all the way down to here, to pure white. I'm using the paper towel here to blend it a little bit. I'm not trying to be perfect. Not trying to be perfect. Painting is not perfect. So I'm doing a gradation, darkest dark to the lightest light.
Right.
Pretty simple thing. We all learned that the first day in art school. Now I'm going to be doing my figures. And the way I do figures is what I call the Rembrandt lighting. Here's an example of the Rembrandt lighting, where it's a gray, start off with gray, and that's the darkest dark. And it goes all the way down behind them on the floor, like window lighting on the floor. And then, of course, that gives me the opportunity to make the bottom part darkest dark and move up into the darkest dark background to the focal point. Pretty simple. So then you just take the two shapes, connect them to two, and you've got it. So this is the same thing only on white paper. This is the same thing on mid-tone paper. This already has your halftone done. How cool is that? So we just made our gray. I'm going to start working that way now. And I'm going to take some of it out. Paper towel. So that's going to be the head. Let's see where we're going with this. And you can do this with rubbing alcohol too, which is always fun. Rubbing alcohol is great for taking wet paint. Goes right back down to the gesso. Now with a little bit of black on my finger, here it comes, these finger painting again. Uh-oh. One of my dancers. So she's going to be exaggerating her arms. Like that. Without drawing the viewer's eye out of the she's really reaching on this one. Nice. I always like it when people ask me, what size brush
Brush
did
you
you
wear?
use?" a number two. There it
Two.
Bless their hearts, you know. It's almost like asking someone who's a nice photograph. What kind of camera did you use? You know,
One
it's,
that takes pictures.
yeah. Of course, we know. Bless their hearts, though. They like your work. So
Yeah.
so anyway,
We had
So-
Don Andrews not
Fun.
very long ago, and I have taken classes with him, and I don't know if you've read his book, but it's everybody asks the same questions when they first
Yeah.
start taking classes: what paintbrush and what picture or what paint, and
Yeah.
it don't matter.
well, I love their inquisitiveness and all that. And as you do these for thousands of these, after a while, you start to hear a lot of the same stuff. But it's new for them, I figured. So,
Exactly.
and not for me, but everybody pays that money, and
Ask the same question.
absolutely. So you can see I'm just kind of goofing around right now with my fingers right now and making sure that the eye goes up to the head. You also can exaggerate things too. That's always an attention getter. like big and little.
Okay,
I'll do one of those. Something like that. Well, it's just the beginning. It's kind of fun to just goof like this. And you make it up as you go along. You know, and I'm gonna make sure there's a shadow down here. Now she's flying. Now she's
Cool.
flying. So, and you can add some, even up in this simple version, I can add a little bit of bling bling that looks like it's bling bling, but it isn't. You think
and
you
by
see,
putting her on the edge, you've created some tension.
yeah, I hope so, just a little bit. And that movement, that kind of stuff, without giving the viewer all the pieces of information. That's what I mean by this. Because as soon as you start painting in the eyeballs, you're gonna start painting in the lips and the nostrils, and now you're in trouble. So learn to stop too soon. You stop at 90%, which is so hard for us to do because
Yeah.
our other mind says, but wait, I know how to finish it. Let me ruin it for you. And we always listen to that, and we always get disappointed. Now I know I'm not telling you anything new.
Do you go back, do you hang things that you've done and, maybe
Great.
and go back and go, oh, I need to change that color. I need to.
So important, and so important to do that. Thank you. That is exactly what I'd be doing. Is I would do this like 5 more times, variations on a theme, and the same thing of, I say, a dancer, just with showing that, and we'll see what happens. And then I also will come in with my drawing sticks, which I love to draw with, and draw into this at the same time, because I just like drawing.
Yes,
that's-
I love the line.
I like the hand of the artist. You see a little bit, and you see other things that are happening in here. Anyway,
Is that the Derwent?
Yeah, one of the Derwents, and you see it dissolves as soon as I just wet it with my finger. Nice, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, nice. Okay, so anyway, it's just one more thing to keep playing with it without looking like, oh, he came in here with a pencil and did that. I make sure it blends into the whole painting, so it's not just stands by itself. And let's add a little more interest to the whole piece. And I like showing the hand of the artist, so to speak. So now, since I do have a couple more minutes, I'll show you what I mean by, this will be really graphic, size. Now think about this kind of thing, even if it were a landscape. This
Yeah.
could be a tree and with a dark trunk in a stormy night on the side of a beach. Did I say side of a beach? I hope the computer doesn't.
Yes,
read
it did say side of a beach.
no.
Yes. That was good. That's good.
I didn't say what you thought I said.
No.
Oh,
That was you. That was all you.
Back to allocution lessons for me. I don't know, my parents spent a lot of money on that and they still didn't work. Anyway, that's funny. Well, I did mention about composition. So I'll do another one on composition. And as I said, one of the things you do in the design is you choose a solid design that you choose from, and then you can repeat it in different sizes. Like there's your series. Like if you did a whole series of squares, it'd be really close up squares and some far away squares. Then they start twisting and turning and doing other kinds of things. Square overlapping square, overlapping square. And that would be the composition that you have on that chart of mine. Overlapping frames. It's a standard. Everybody has these charts. All right. And so see, it gives you a basic just to play with it. When you start off with a concept, stick with it. Don't keep changing your mind, because what will happen is at the end of the day, you're going to have a really thick painting with a whole lot of good ideas on it. When you change your mind, change your paper, go over and do it over there. Don't
Do you
keep putting.
do you work on more than one at a time?
I work on first of all, this series, like my warm-ups will be like 6 of these ballet, something like that. Or
Yeah, tell the people about that you do what you do.
right, coffee cups.
Yeah.
everyday common items. And I got that idea from Richard Diebenkorn. He smokes cigarettes and he has these cigarette butts in his ashtray, and he drew that. I
Oh,
said,
that's right.
no, not glamorous. It doesn't always have to be pretty. But what I love about that is the everyday common objects and how do I communicate something, not a pretty item, okay?
And
Right.
then you do a series.
Oh, I always do a series. And then I start, as you can see, I'm starting to build up the size.
Right.
So whatever I learned down here, I can easily just put it up into here. Like my brush says, oh yeah, I remember that spot. You did this before.
When you're writing this in your journal, when you're journaling about this, do you say, I'm going to do a series on fruit and I want to make, you know, pink ones, or what do you just, are you descriptive in it, or is it just an idea?
Thank you. Actually, both. When an artist, you hear this all the time. Oh, I just work really intuitively, which
Right.
means
Yeah.
BS. I
Yeah.
mean, you have an idea. So stop saying that. Thank you. I know I'm stepping on toes right there. You actually do have an idea,
Yeah.
but you should maybe not be able to know how to articulate it. No problem. So what I would much rather hear you say, as I work non-objective, which means you have an idea and you're going to do a painting based on your idea, and does it communicate your idea? And again, if you've been in my workshops, you know how I give you all a title of a painting and you have to
Right.
paint that 2 minutes, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Well, and you didn't argue because you had an idea. See how you jumped into that? And I've kept that little practice up all through these 33 years of painting. And I do it every day. I really do. You know, I blindly point to a word in my book and say, oh, I don't like that word, but that's my problem du jour, so to speak. And
That's
I give
kind of
myself,
fun though.
it is a great fun. And then at the end of 12 minutes, you've got, 6 little great starting paintings. And again, and yes, they get back to the original question. I do put all these up on the wall. Even the much larger ones, everything goes up on the wall. So I don't have any other distraction other than the wall. Some of it has some paint on it. And I look at it for a while. And I need a break.
Yeah.
And a visual break. And I've been working 15 inches away. So
Yeah.
you need to go to the other side of the room.
Yeah.
And you do that with those reduction glasses, which are pretty cool. Or even more better, take a picture with your iPad. And because everything you can see instantly what's right, what's wrong on your
That's a good
iPad
idea.
screen,
Yeah.
and you see instantly what's right or wrong. And I look at it many times that way because that's going to be your first impression, other people's first impression. My goal is to get this work into a gallery.
Right.
So I do have a goal. And, would it work in someone's gallery? And it depends on the gallery. And they all are all built by a certain kind of committee and purpose and an audience, very specific type of an audience. And that's why the artwork. So if you ever get rejected,
Try a different gallery.
that means that they couldn't sell it. They don't have the clientele.
Yeah.
Bless their hearts. They have a different clientele. Good for them. Yep. And you're right. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's why I say do your homework. I'm sorry I got off on a rant like that.
It's okay.
But I do, sorry. But I do put everything up on the wall. And you can
Gee,
see
is it fresh in your mind, Bob?
I do it every day. In fact, that
Yeah.
wall changes every day too,
Yeah.
which is really great. And you're right. Sometimes I walk by with some red in my brush and I go, oh, that one, oh, this one, oh, that needs some, it needs some more red over
Oh,
here.
that's funny.
And I do that. Hopefully no one's watching. And then this guy did 4 years of art school and he's running around with a brush and going like this. Isn't it supposed to be painful when you sit down bored and get a sore butt and all that? No.
No.
So this is my Pilates, being able to, hey, listen, I'm so fortunate at this age to still be standing. And number one, still be standing. And I really get down to my studio early. I just love being a place to go, right?
Well, it shows. It shows
yeah.
in your attitude and your work. And I know that, I mean, having taken your workshops, you and Kate both are always so positive and so generous with all of your information. And I mean, as an artist, I really appreciate you're an inspiration.
Thank you. Well, I mean, yes, thanks for including Kate. I was about to also, because as we all know,
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, I
Cindy,
know how much
yeah.
that's the backup.
and she's terrific on the technical side too, and puts out a lot of technical problems for other
While
people.
you're in there being creative, she's in there, she's being twice as creative and keeping the house.
She has the right attitude. And, every once in a while, I can not have the right attitude, and I have a sticky note on my table over here on the wall, and a little sticky note that she gave me one time, and I was doing one of these kinds of presentations, and I think I just got derailed, and I went off. And she gives me the sticky note, and it says, "Be nice."
Be nice, Bob. I say that to my husband all the time.
You have
Be
to say,
nice.
"Bob, be nice." So that changed my whole life, really. And I've saved it. I've saved all her sticky notes, whatever. One of them is "Shut up and let them paint," things like that. They're just terrific. And so, yeah,
Way
we
to go, Kate.
We're a good team. We're a good team.
Yes, you are. Well, thank you both very, very much.
Oh, it's great to see you.
And yes, and next chance I get, I might be down there in your studio painting with you.
Fantastic.
It's on my bucket list, so.
Oh, it's on mine too.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate
Thank you, Bob.
hanging
And
out
we'll
with
see you in a year about the financial side of this. I signed you up already.
Oh, it's a great one. It's a terrific one. Yeah, it really is.
It's
The
fun.
business part of it.
We make money fun.
Yeah. Really?
I will email you the link to the recording, and I can also download it to you too. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Kate. I really appreciate you guys doing this. And did you send me your address?
I did.
Okay, I'll go back in my emails.
Okay, I'll send it again. It's good.
Thank you, sweetheart. That was
All
great.
right. Have a good evening.
Oh, we will.
Thanks for doing our demo, and everybody, thank you for tuning in and listening.
Oh, boy, I hope they were out there.
Have a wonderful. Yep, they were.
All right, great.
Okay, Kate, you're in charge of the button.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna end it for everybody. Thanks a
All
lot.
right. Bye-bye.